So my name is Nelly Morrissey. I'm a researcher at the Google AI Lab. I know you guys have been introduced to me a couple of times, so I won't go into much depth about that. But what I wanted to do is first of all introduce our panel who have agreed to come and have this discussion with us. And then after I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my own work. So some of the work that got me passionate in the area that I'm passionate about, that I think is meaningful work to do for AI in Africa. It's going to be really short. And then afterwards, we're going to get the panelists to come and present their own work. I've asked them to give about 5 to 10 minute presentations. I will also try to see if we can something around that area. Because the most important thing that I hope we get out of this session is to have a conversation. And it should be a directed conversation. And I hope that out of that conversation, I would like us to highlight the good work that we are already doing for machine learning and AI in Africa. This is not the beginning of machine learning and AI in Africa. It is in fact a continuation, and it is a session to see how do we improve upon, as the message of the Endeavor this year, how do we build upon what is already, how do we grow together, how do we move together. So with that, after we have a question and answer session with our panelists, I am going to do a really short workshop with the audience, where I'm going to ask you guys to identify some problem areas that you think are nice and ready, low-hanging fruit for us. And with that in mind, I would like you to think about this project, think about what would be necessary to make that project come to fruition, and also come think about what you think, how you think you could deploy something like that, and who you think you would want to deploy it for. Okay? So we will have a really short 15 minutes of these suggestions from the audience, and we will pick some of the, let's say, top 3. And then from there, we'll start to think about what would be the things that are necessary for this thing to come up. The reason I am asking for this from the audience is, hopefully when we get out of this room, we should be able to have identified some projects that we can readily go out and collaborate in. Okay? So from the panel, as I introduced the panel, there is a reason I asked these people to come and join us for this discussion today. It is because I believe it is people that can actually help us in formulating those questions, in moving them forward, and maybe pointing us in the right direction of where we might identify these resources or some of these tricks that they have to do in order to make AI in Africa, because they are currently practicing researchers and entrepreneurs. And how do they do it? We constantly hear of the challenges, but obviously it's happening. So how do they do it? Okay? This is what I hope we can focus on. All right, so this is our panel. We have Lynette Kwambonka. She's right here in the middle. She is the founder and CEO of Data Science in Nairobi. Is it just Nairobi? In Kenya.
Well, in Somalia.
And in East Africa. And in Somalia, and she's also a Mozilla Fellow, and she does a lot more work than, her company is a software company, but she also does work, she's also a researcher, and she has done work in data protection and data rights and representation and inclusion. And she will talk a little bit about some of the things that happen when AI doesn't exactly do what you want it to do. Okay. And then we have John Lentner from IBM Africa. He's a chief scientist from IBM Africa. His work is divided mostly between the lab in Nairobi and the lab here in, we're not in Johannesburg anymore, so it used to be Johannesburg. But anyway, the lab in South Africa, they have a lab, IBM Research has a lab in Johannesburg. And John is gonna tell us about some of the work and some of the things that excite him in this area. IBM Research has been in Africa for a couple of years, and we hope he will share with us what they have learned as a company that came from somewhere and set up a research lab in Africa. What have they learned? What do they want to share? What are they still excited about in this work? And then we have Megan over there. And Megan is a chief scientist and the CEO and for one of the founders of Ixio Analytics. And there, once again, we have an entrepreneur, and I hope Megan will come in and tell us about how she got it off the ground, how they got, of course no one works in isolation, but how they got it off the ground, how are they still making it, how do they survive, how do we support this entrepreneur, how do we support the environment so that there's more like her. So this is the point of view that I have asked her to come through and tell us. We have Sumir over at the very end. Sumir is actually with the H3A BioNet network, which is a bioinformatics network, which I actually specifically asked them to come here because I think sometimes we don't know about them, and yet they are so big. Unless I am the only one who was ignorant of them until I found them, but I was really surprised it took me that long to hear of the work they do. So what they do is they provide computational facilities for researchers in bioinformatics all over Africa. So what I asked him is to tell us about the services they can give to researchers in this area. A lot of time we talk about AI and we think about the AI of the general startup, the social services that are one of those kinds. But there is a lot of machine learning that is happening, of course, in areas like bioinformatics and computational biology. And I actually have worked with them, and it's been a pleasure for me to work with them. So if anyone is in that area, then Sumir, he is a project lead at H3A. And finally, we've got Mustafa. A lot of you have met Mustafa in different forums. He is the team lead, and he is a research scientist at Google AI for the lab that's going to start in Accra. If you were there in the Monday session, I read the whole bio about him when he was a research scientist at Facebook before that. What I would ask of Mustafa in this position is, we are all excited that Google came and planted this lab. And we want to know why. Mustafa is African. Why did he take the job? What is it that he hopes that what is it that he hopes we're going to get from Google AI coming in and putting in the resources in Africa? So this is the reason why I invited this panel, and they will tell you a little bit more about themselves, and they'll tell you a little bit more about the work they do and the things that drive them. Okay, and can I give them a clap? I'm going to jump in also, of course, yes. So a little bit about my background and where I came from before I joined Google AI. And so one of the reasons why I did also join Google AI. So before I joined Google, I was doing work in data science for social impact. That's a very, very, of course, almost everybody does data science for social impact. But anyway, so this is the name that we worked under. I worked at the CSIR, which is the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, and it's a little bit of a government arm. I say a little bit because it's about 30% funded by government and 70% funded by other entities. But the main aim of it is to find out how do you do science that improves the conditions of society. And so when we did the work that we did, we were consulting with governments, we were consulting with scientists, and we were consulting with entrepreneurs to see how do we do science in such a way that it benefits the population. It is mostly for South Africans, but we did collaborate with a lot of other Africans through bilateral agreements and through research after research. So this is the one I talked about. We had about 3 areas of focus. So it was data science for science, data science for government, and data science for advocacy. And this part of the INDABA, of course, we fall under the data science for education part in some of these projects that we were involved in. We have another project called DeepSight, where we train ready to graduate, researchers and scholars, and in order to get them ready for the market. So train them on the tools, how to formulate an applied science type of question, and how to work with clients, things like those. That's what we did. And then, of course, there was the data science for government, which actually a lot of people that I've talked about how do you do science in your country, I realized that we were actually in a much better place because of that partial thing of being owned by government. It wasn't always as hard. Of course, government is a bureaucracy and it's got all the rules and it's hard to do it, but at least we had one foot in. And we know that for some of the scientists, it can be very difficult getting a toe in the door. So we had a benefit of that. And then on the data science for science, I actually worked with the bioscientists. That's how I know them. I did work with biologists that were doing research in proteomics, and we were studying African cancer proteomics. We are now at the stage where we have collected our data, and now it was a point of analysis. And of course, unfortunately, due to IP issues, this is not a project that I can participate in, but it is still a project that I believe in the importance of. And if there are people who are interested in the machine learning for proteomics, for drug discovery, for general bio applied parts, if I would be more than happy to introduce you to the team so that the work is still ongoing. So I will actually cut myself there. I was going to go a little bit more, but I think I am more interested in hearing from the panel and from the audience than from myself. If you guys want to know more about the projects I do and the work I do, I'm more than happy to tell you about them offline. But I'm very keen for this discussion to begin. And I would like to request of the audience, please let's participate. I invited this panel because I was aware of the work they did. Since then, I have met other people that have been really incredible that I hope to hear from in this session. So please, if you have something to contribute, I think this will be meaningful. And with that, I'm going to ask our first speaker to come through and introduce herself. And I think we'll ask Lynette to come open it up for us.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is Lynette Mongoma, as you have heard, and I am the founder and CEO of Data Science Limited. Very often I'm asked why Data Science Limited as a name, and I said, just like to call it because it's very easy. My presentation today is going to be on man versus machine, and I'm hoping that it is going to be some kind of break from all the code and algorithms that we have been talking about over the past few days of the week. This is the point where I also say I have made a lot of friends from Google and Microsoft and Facebook. So if any of this started to happen, please do not come for me. What does data science do? We are a data analytics and research company, pretty much. As I have mentioned, we operate in Nairobi, we have worked in Ethiopia and in Somalia, and I'm going to touch on some of that as we go. As Melem also mentioned, I do a lot of research, and I was a Mozilla fellow. Previously, I have done the Kenya Open Data Initiative for the government of Kenya and the government of Somalia, and some other local initiatives that are interested in open data. So I have spent the past, I would say, 8 years pretty much just focused on doing data science, open data, and now moving a lot more into machine learning. A lot of our clients have been people who operate in government, civil society, and the private sector. We work across various sectors in education. We do some work in healthcare. Very recently, I'm fortunate enough to have a brother who's a neurosurgeon. We've partnered to actually start doing a lot of research around neurosurgery as well. So I think that introduction can come very handy for me as well. Why man versus machine? One of the things that I think sometimes we ignore as research scientists, as researchers, is the impact that the work we do has on what I call the learning context. There's a really nice quote that I have up there. It says, the real problem is not whether machines think, but what them think. When we think about bias, how we represent things. I think we have all seen a lot of interesting things in Google stuff. Google today as a brand. And this is one of the things I think when you go to any women empowerment, and we need to appreciate how we think about ourselves. And when you Google a beautiful woman on Google, when you search for that, that's what you get. Well, last week when I was in Nairobi, I got the first results. And yesterday, when I was looking through the slides again, I decided to do it. And one candidate has actually been kicked out. And now that's what we have. In the era of localization, when I got to South Africa and I went on Twitter, my trending topics were completely different from the trending topics that were in Nairobi. Yesterday I was having a conversation with my friend and he says, check out this hashtag. And I go to trending topics and I don't see it. And for 2 seconds I was confused. Why can't I see what this guy is saying? Oh, yeah, he's in Nairobi and I'm in South Africa. In this era of localization, why haven't things like this changed? It's all human bias, right? The definition of beauty in South Africa is probably not the same as when you're in Nairobi. It's probably not the same as when you are in the US or anywhere else in the world. So how do we change some of the ways that we look at localization of content, especially when we're looking at machines? Now, this is a really interesting picture, and I hope no one thinks that I'm trying to portray any new people, but this is pre-colonial Kenya. Before we started wearing, clothes, I've been able to represent, I think, 3 profiles of myself today. So, before we started wearing, clothes as we know it, of course, this is how women in Kenya looked like in the 1800s, right? So there's a guy called History Kenya, History KE, who goes to a lot of the historical pictures and puts them up on the internet. And when he did this the first time, Facebook blocked him. Yeah, because of course there is a policy of what kind of pictures you can put out and what kind of pictures you can put, right? According to a Facebook algorithm, I would imagine Instagram or Twitter, that is a naked woman. But according to this guy, that's history. Yeah? So how do we localize the ideas of machine learning, the ideas of AI? When you look at, for instance, what we call the experts of search actions, he says he's been blocked for 30 days. This actually happened, I think, last week when I was, getting contact for this. So what does 30 days do to him if, for instance, he was an influencer? Someone who depends on, posting stuff like this, or having a Facebook account, for example, to be able to make money. And he says the first time he did it, Facebook came back and apologized, because then they realized, we need to localize. And then he posted something else, and he was blocked again, because probably the machines have not learned. Yeah? And then he came into the room. Can I ask you to something? I would like for you to translate, forget what that says. I would like for you to translate what this says. The first part. Yes, Maria. The first, just translate that.
These fools think they're going to leave me out of this cell, even though my name is G.
Right? So I'll contextualize it. So this is a picture of a few ministers who are hanging out, and there's the guy in the back. His name is Mujir Mutiri. So someone was trying to make fun, right? To say, just because, and Mujir, if you say it in another, with a different accent, in Kenya, in Swahili, means out. So he looks like he's out, right? So he's saying, this whole thing, they're going to leave me out of this picture just because my name is out, right? And this guy probably was using a Microsoft phone, And Microsoft tried to translate. If global health Mafala, they think they leave me J selfie, even if called, I didn't even say even if I am called. Even if called Njemtiri. And they missed out on 2 emojis. But do you start to see what that is? And I think we'll get to what I call, and that was his comment actually, not mine. And he said Microsoft seems to develop its software. Don't mislead us with your translation. So, story time. My client and I walk into that is a second profile of me. So you would find me either in party mode, the profile picture, or that mode when I'm in the issue, or this mode when I'm technically working. And yes, when we're in Somalia, we have to wear bulletproof jackets. You know, it's a bit dusty, but most of the time it's fun. That's my colleague Vincent. We have done or developed the Somalia Open Data portal, what we call it the Open Government Initiative. And the idea is to bring as much open data to the people of Somalia as possible. This is a project we've been working on for the past 2 to 3 years. And it's a project that I really like. You'll notice that I have an arrow there and it says language English, right? The work that we do in Somalia, because not everyone in Somalia actually speaks speaks English, we have to do a lot of translation for all the work that we do there. So, on our translation, this is what you have. Is there anyone who speaks Somali in the room? No? Okay. Now you have to trust what I say. So, this is how, and we work with a human being to do this translation. So I'll do a really quick story. So a client of mine and I are walking through the room and we're explaining that we have now done the translation of the website. And I go through the process of telling him what we did. We hired a person who made the translation, and then we used Google Translate to do random bits of the translations to just make sure that the guy had done the correct thing. And then we took it through another human being just to make sure. This is a government portal that was launched by the president, right? So we had to go through all these things. And all my clients had, true story, was that we used Google Translate to do this, and he was really excited. Very, very excited. I don't think I have seen someone that upset. And I never understood why until this. So you'll notice there's a little button up there that offers to do translation back to possibly English, and this happens a lot. You receive an email, there's a pop-up that says translate, right? So I clicked on it, but before we get to the fun of what I got, I took this to that particular line to Google Translate, and it says, welcome to the transparent government, right? But when I clicked on that little button, what did I get? Welcome to the government of India. Then I understood why my client was so upset. This could start a war, and true story, this could start a war. And I would be in the middle of it. I mean, I have seen a government project when we did the elections last year go down for 2 seconds, and I was in trouble for maybe 10 minutes, but I was in trouble because the thing went down for 2 seconds. There was some downtime. Now imagine the president is trying to launch, and there's a group of people here, and they see translate, and they click on it, and they see, welcome to the government of India. But you also notice a lot of the things are also translated very differently. For instance, when you go down here, there's this translation. You can access this on data.gov.so, by the way, to be able to see this, because I have to rush. And when I took this to Google Translate, trying to go a short phrase at a time, at a point the translator just said, do not know the most different message. You know, and there were different translations as I added words to this one statement. But at the end of the day, I think the translator was just really mad at me and just saying, Ministry of Mogadishu, 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 like, what, right? And what that should have actually said was start browsing various data sets from various ministries. So when we talk about localization, my challenge to you is how do we start to make this relevant for people in Africa? Natural language processing. Yeah. How do we start to make this relevant? For communities, I was speaking to him, for instance, in Ethiopia. Not too many people speak English because there's a national language that is spoken there. If I did work for Ethiopia that required translation, how do I avoid this being welcome to the government of South Africa? Thank you.
These days, a lot of customers have heard of AI, big data, and blockchain, and many are banging at our doors to build such and such a solution using one or the other of these technologies. However, we don't just rush into these imagined solutions and start building them. We first expend effort to dig into the use case, to make sure the use case makes some sense, and also that the envisioned technological solution is appropriate. That said, we've done some really clever things in AI in our labs. In one project, we've used the pattern of how people top off their airtime on their cell phones for the credit scoring of people without bank accounts or credit histories. In another project, we found a surprising connection between a gene that's protective from malaria and one's propensity to get the most dangerous form of breast cancer, so-called triple-negative breast cancer, a type of cancer especially common among Africans. In a third project, we've used deep learning for the automatic categorization of breast cancer pathology reports to speed up cancer reporting and the collection of cancer statistics. These contributions are small, however, in comparison with the opportunities that lie ahead. As crazy as Africa is about AI, big data, and blockchain, it's important that we not come in with our AI hammers, and especially our Western perspectives of what it means to add value, thinking that these tools and perspectives are a cure for everything. They aren't. For all the help we may be able to offer to the developing world, my experience has been that the people of this region have much more to teach us than we have to teach them. It's important to keep that mindset when embarking on any new business project in this region. In the last 2.5 years that I have been in this continent, the last 2.5 years that I have been here, have been the richest years of my life. There was a saying in Kenya, perhaps it's made its way to South Africa, that Americans have money, but Africans have time. And the fact that I'd like to share a little optical story that in Kenya, you have a meeting that is scheduled to start, say, at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Because of the crazy traffic in Nairobi, that meeting can happen anytime, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And if you arrive early, say 3 o'clock, and you're forced out of your frenzied lifestyle and to spend time with the other person that happens to have also arrived early. It's a refreshing thing for a crazy American like me. So, tossed out from my frenzied prior life in America to what Conrad called the heart of darkness, I have indeed discovered the beauty of time. In our desire to add value to Africa, let's not kill the fact that Africans have found a better part of the money-time bargain, as well as many other keys to what it means to live a good life, as is evident in the rich, caring, and diverse cultures of this continent.
Thank you.
My name is Srikanji, and I'm here on behalf of Machine Learning to share my projects and I like to thank the organizers for gracious inviting us.
Yes.
So I'm currently the project manager of Machine Learning, so I'll just provide a little bit of context about the kind of work we're doing in the project that we're affiliated with, so what is Issue Africa? Issue Africa is basically a working trust and financial funding initiative to bring precision medicine and genomics to the African continent. Historically, a lot of the precision medicine and genomics studies has been done on Western and African American populations, with African populations lagging behind. And also, as lifestyles and living standards are improving within Africa, a lot of African populations are soon going to get common lifestyle diseases such as face and Western areas as well. So by doing genomics within Africa, we can try to improve these diseases. So the Issue Africa Consortium itself consists of 48 funded projects, 34 countries that's involved with African Consortium members. It consists of 50 collaborative centers that are spread across 15 to 20 different African countries, 16 specialized research projects that look at African-specific diseases, and a lot of hereditary and mental diseases as well. And we've also got some training programs that come through, and in order to support this organization, we have a really strong informatics background, which is Issue Finance. So Issue Finance itself is a African informatics network, and it's hoping to develop capacity within Africa, and it's called Issue Africa Projects. We are 28 nodes in 17 different African countries, and we work in spheres such as education, learning infrastructure, research development, and development as well for those kinds of data. So just a quick search yesterday, I was looking for the growth of ML and environmental literature. Around 2000, there were only 26 papers that were published that cited ML techniques and environmental literature in PubMed. By 2013, that had reached more than 1,000 different papers on the scope of China so well. In 2018, there's still around over 3,500 papers and years now. So machine learning is actually been used in bioinformatics since its inception, because it's an interface between computational biology and data science as well. So it's been used in evolution, genomics, data, system biology. More recently, it's been used in a lot of population genomic studies as well, with population stratification, as well as the markers and the market studies. So what's changed? Why have we got this sudden explosion in environmental literature? That's because we've got a lot of technological revolutions that's happening in the genomics field as well. So the first human genome was published in 2003, and it was about 2.8 million bases in 24 hours, and that's cheaper than bases that are to sequence. It cost $500 million, and it took around 18 years to do. Today, we can actually do a full genome sequence at 3 times coverage for $4,000 in less than a day. So the amount of data is still in the West as exponentially. We estimate that actually genomic data will probably reach the zetascale range, probably in 2025. And that's a lot of data and a lot of features to actually work with, which I mean, not human can actually possibly do. So just a bit of the data that we collect in Issue Africa. A lot of it is phenotype data, a lot of it is genetic variation data from people around 20 different African populations, and that includes sequence data, whole genome sequence data, and microbiome data. And we've also used the data to design a custom chip itself with different variations and disease causality in African populations specific to African populations. The current microarray chips that are used are being designed for Western populations. They don't really represent African populations very well. So there's a lot of the disease sphere differences actually listed using chips designed for Western populations. And I mean, I'll talk more about this data in so a lot of the data is collected has a lot of metadata, which is feature rich, and that's like genetic average, ethnicity, the weight, the height, and each of the projects have those specific things collected. So these will call metadata on phenotypes, and the phenotype is defined as income progression. And these form really useful features, especially for users of the biggest one we do have in biological sciences field is that a lot of this data is special genes. There's no standardized way of collecting this data. So for example, different projects go to different data different ways. We say female, it could be female in one project, it could be woman in the next project, it could be one in another project. If you ask a question for, like, let's say, how many students you smoke, some projects are collecting with daily units, some projects are collecting with weekly units, some is with different time. So if you want to try and combine these data sets, but you want to combine all these data sets to get more power for the studies, how do you harmonize these data sets? So what we're trying to push for a lot is using ontologies. Ontologies are common with primary terms researchers that show information domain. We prefer because they do have a hierarchical relationship. So if you think a lot of ontology is done onto this data for the issue, then that kind of helps us with the features harmonizing the features. So with the issue data coming out in the next years within issue Binary, we realize that we actually need to classify ourselves in terms of deep learning and machine learning. So we constituted a project to this end. The project is led by Dr. Amar Boulia from the Institute of Tunis, and we have active many solutions like that from Malawi and the US. There are 10 different projects on this project, and we have a variety of skills from backgrounds like analytics, computer science, maths, and statistics. So the aims of the ML project within the environment is to develop optimization of machine learning techniques, develop training materials and doing training. And I think point two is very important as well. Providing development support for the different projects in East Africa, and also try to use these techniques and what we learn to actually apply it to African engineering data as well as African scientists. So the current work in progress is to create a glossary of ML terms. And when I say glossary, it's not aimed at computer scientists or experts in the field. It's just aimed at clinicians or people who are new to the field who actually want to learn a bit more about it. And it's actually a lot harder than it seems because we're trying to condense it down to like simple usable language which people can understand. So a clinician can actually pick up or know what you're talking about. We hope to condense these terms as follows in the ML tools handbook. So most of the tools and packages are used for genomic development specific. And examples of scripts and expected outputs. And also try to create a mind map of what kind of ML techniques we use to answer different kinds of biological genomics questions as well. For example, we're looking for breast cancer markers in which data sets. So first step is we build a glossary out, a classification out of the workers contribute to more learning. What we do want to do with the ML handbook, which is currently in progress, is create example scripts as well. So we provide the handbook, you have scripts, you have data sets, you have why you use this method, and what is this method for, what kind of data you use. Of course, you expect to find that, so there's a lot of ML techniques, and especially the deep learning techniques we find, just feel like black boxes, which are not really accessible to a lot of people. And I think if we want to make ML and machine learning deep learning a lot more pervasive in the environmental field, especially in Africa, don't demystify some of these tools. So that's a lot of what the aim of this project is for the first phase. Also, classical so the future work we're aiming to do is identify suitable data sets, use for comparative analysis, and generate best methods. And this is very difficult because getting really good public data sets for future data sets is quite tricky because scientists like to have not raw data because it's a fancy for publications. So trying to get them to foster different science and community is quite challenging. We do want to develop critique and also to recognize the guidelines based on choosing practices that we use. So we are providing a handbook on what kind of practices are there, what scripts are there, what tools are there, specifically for biological practice. And ultimate goals to develop training materials and workshops for economics. We've actually given 2 workshops from this, and we've had challenges, which I would like to discuss that. And I'd just like to thank the members of the HRI team, especially Dr. Mongolia and the ML team. Zara, she talked about this and talked about the discussion. Thanks.
This is a work done by a former intern of mine who's actually presenting this week at ECCV, but just decided to come here because I thought Indaba was more fun than ECCV. So what I want to show you here is a specific case of failure, which is put in the same line as what Inet talked about in the talk. So we all know about ImageNet, right? It's the main driving force of the recent advances in computer vision and deep learning, especially. So when you train your model, you take a state-of-the-art model, let's say residual networks, and you train it on ImageNet, it allows you to classify every image in 1/1000 categories. Okay. So you can take an image of someone playing basketball and throw it to the network, and it will classify most of the time correctly, because most models now have accuracy of over 80%. So we wanted to know really, when these models decide that for a given image, this is the right category, why do they make that decision? And that could inform us into what is really going on inside the model and understand the predictions. So while doing this, we found a few interesting things. I took some pictures. I started taking some pictures of myself and just throwing it in the model. And it was constantly predicting basketball, which was a little bit funny because I play football, but not basketball. So we came up with a technique based on what we call prototypes and critics that allows us to highlight when the model has learned different concepts, what the model believes that is prototypical of its knowledge, and what the model believes that it is critical of its knowledge, which means that it is at the boundary of what the model knows about the concept. And what we realized is that for the concept of basketball, the chief reason why the model is predicting something as being basketball is because there is a black person in it. And similarly, for the concept of ping pong ball, the chief reason why the model is predicting ping pong is because there is an Asian in the picture. And these are true examples. We just took a picture of Barack Obama, who used to be the president of the US, and Xi Jinping, who is the president of China. And we throw these pictures to the model, and these are the predictions that the model actually made. This is the highest scoring classes. So, why am I saying this? So, because of this reason, shall we be mad at the model? Like, shall we say that? Can we say that the models are racist? Of course not. The models are unconscious statistical results of learning algorithms. They cannot be responsible of this type of prediction. In fact, it's even difficult to say that the human beings who are behind these models, like who train these models to learn, predict, and accomplish certain tasks, it's even difficult to qualify them as being racist. Because most of the time, and I know a lot of people in this field, people are well-meaning and have good intent. Specifically for this example, we thought that there was a truth imbalance in the data. And we went to check how much of images do we have in the class basketball that is composed of black people, and how many images are composed of white people. And what we found is that almost 50% of the images you will find black people, and almost 50% of the images you will find white people. Which means that those who designed this, and I'm sure they did it on purpose, they really made sure that for this type of classes, you have the same kind of representation. But what happened is that even though in this category you have a balanced number for white persons and black persons, most of the white persons in the whole data set are only present in the category basketball. And this is extremely difficult to find, and people are investing a lot of work trying to uncover these biases and trying to derive new learning algorithms in order to have more, what I call now, axiological machine learning and AI. Why axiological? Because it covers both what we call ethics and aesthetics, which is more what is beautiful, which refers to what you did show previously. So, while introducing me, Nyaling said that you should tell us about why Google planted this lab in Africa. In fact, Google did not plant a lab in Africa. We came here to work with Africans, and I'm one of them, to build an AI center to create an AI by Africans and not for Africans, an AI by Africa, because I truly believe we have much more to offer than just using AI for ourselves. Much of the science that we see today is actually based, if you go through the history of science, on stuff that has been done before on the continent. Studying with mathematics, we all know that. And I think when I speak to this audience, I do not need to convince you, having seen all the puzzles that have been done here, that foundational, rigorous, and amazing work can be done here for the benefit of the whole humanity. And that's exactly what we are going to do. We're going to do it with a lot of humility by establishing partnerships with local institutions to work on advancing the science of AI, but at the same time to work on bringing machine learning wherever it can be useful, be it in medical and health sciences, in biology, in education, in agriculture, etc. And while doing it, because Africa is socially and culturally the most diverse continent on this planet, we believe that if we succeed to do that here, we can definitely export whatever we have done here anywhere else in the world, because this is the most representative population of our planet. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for inviting me, Nele. So Nele asked me to talk a little bit about my journey from academia into starting a business. My formatting is a little bit off, apologies for that. So I went to UCT a very long time ago, trying to avoid how long ago that was. Studied applied maths and botany and worked in the field of evolutionary biology. Really loved the work I was doing, but I started to feel that it was very theoretical and I wanted to really go out into the world and solve real problems. So I left university and got a job. My first job was my first and only job was as a spatial analyst at a company based in South Africa. I built an automated valuation model for them. So in South Africa, you put in your address and it gives you the current value of the property. I soon got really frustrated with being an employee. I would say I didn't make a very good employee. I kind of went to the CEO and I said, you guys are doing this stuff, but you could be doing so much more. And the so much more for me was really working more at an individual customer level and more in the space of machine learning. And the CEO's response to me was, no, we're pretty happy with what we do and we're going to stick to it. And I saw that as an opportunity, so I quit my job with nothing else to go to. Which was pretty risky, I guess, at the time. And I started Ixio, and that was in 2012. That was still very early days of the field of data science and business. I'd say that starting a company is a combination of determination, seeing a need in a market, and also a lot of luck. And I was very lucky. I got a really awesome first client. And my pitch to them was, I know you guys have some really cool data. I don't know what the results would be, but let's try and do something. And they took me on that basis, which was really, really awesome of them. And they're actually still a client today. We've done some really great work with them around predicting customer behavior, what customers will do, and how they'll shift between products, and whether they'll pay their accounts or not, and things like that. What we focus on as a company, I guess, is really working with corporates to identify use cases and try and solve them. Corporate environments, they're sometimes quite strict on time and things like that. So, whereas in academia you have a little bit more flexibility around how you solve things and the time you take. In corporate world is a little bit tougher. They are pretty demanding in terms of time. So that's what we focus on. We don't like this idea of, holding on to code and not sharing it. So we have this philosophy of being very collaborative and working with corporates to kind of take them along this journey and really also upskill and build solutions in the companies that are sustainable. I'd say in running a business, you become kind of a jack of all trades, so finance and tax finance and HR and running a business, so I don't do all the things that are my core skills all the time. But I'd say it's really challenging, and to any of you guys, if you're interested in starting a business, if anyone says no, it's hard and don't do it, I would say don't listen. Go and do it. There's a huge amount of opportunity out there. People are very collaborative, so that was also the one thing I found. I guess the environment I was in academia was very, very competitive. So people sometimes wouldn't actually help you very much. They kind of say, well, do it on your own. It was a very, very, very tight competition for funding. And I went into the business world kind of expecting stuff similar, and it was so collaborative. It was actually really overwhelmed. People want to collaborate, they want to work with you, they want to kind of do things together, which is really, really great. And I really love the environment. I do miss the academic environments of really getting stuck into a topic and having debates on more theoretical things. So we've tried to kind of bring some of those elements into the company where we have discussions and we read papers and things like that. And more recently, and I guess this is the flexibility of running a company. So more recently, we took some profits at the end of our financial year. We decided to build a competition platform. So you might say, why do something similar to Kaggle? So we all really love Kaggle, and a lot of people in Ixio actually use Kaggle to learn, as I'm sure many of you guys do. But we found that it wasn't always relevant to the types of problems we were working on here. We also, the jobs board is, very much US based. We wanted something that was, a little bit different and a little bit more African focused. So we started Zindi. It actually launched on Monday. I wasn't at the launch because I was here, but we launched the platform on Monday, so very early days. But even through Zindi, we've had a lot of great collaborations. So we have MobiTicket is a startup in Kenya. They are hosting a competition, and Uber and another donor-funded organization, Eye2Eye, they're actually sponsoring all the prize money. So there's a lot of collaboration in the world, and I think, or in Africa, and I think we're trying to harness that through Zindi. So we started on Monday, very early days. We're running it as a social enterprise. So that means that it's not a for-profit business. Basically, any revenue that we generate through Zindi will be focused on building out the ecosystem, building more competitions, building features on the platform. So you can go check it out. But I think, just to wrap up, I think running a business gives you flexibility. You can do things that you really are passionate about, that you want to do. I struggled being an employee because it was kind of like you were given tasks and you had to do them, and there wasn't really much more than that. So I'd say, if you guys are thinking of doing something like this, definitely, grab opportunities, take risks, and go for it. There's a huge amount of potential and opportunity on the continent. Cool.
Thank you so much, Megan. That was a nice way to close up the panel. Like I said, I'm going to just have a bit of a different sort of panel where I want to make this more interactive. So I'm going to ask them questions, but I'm also going to ask the audience questions at the same time. And my first question to you is going to be, what do you think are the wide open opportunities? What are the low-hanging fruits? What do we need? So it's going to have three parts. What do we need to make it happen? And then how are we going to deploy it? What are going to be our target markets? And this can be a startup, can be a research question, it can be an investigation, can be anything that we think machine learning can make impact on. I'm going to ask you to talk in groups of 5. I was going to say 4, but then there was one person off the panel. So the panel will just be a group, and I'm going to ask you, we're going to take 10 minutes in groups of 5. If we can just do that. If you don't agree, just do the top 3. Hello. Hello. Yes, I think maybe we should come back together. This is really interesting because it looks like the discussions were really, people were really going for it. So I'm going to ask one person per group to give us the idea that they are thinking. Okay, so I'm just gonna hear like a really like a 30-second pitch. Okay, just like 30 seconds, just the idea. I don't think we're gonna be able to have people like this. All right, I'm gonna start from this side, all the way through. We're just gonna hear, and I hope there is we're gonna overlap with the ideas. Okay. Guys, can we please just give everybody an ear, give them a chance.
Dr. P will have seen the type of medication and all those things in your device. And we also thought of like probably in a community whereby you have a particular disease, right? And we know that probably if that disease is a communicable disease, then it can quickly spread across the community. So if you can quickly detect the person having that kind of disease, then we know what to do and how we are going to arrest such situation. So collecting data is going to be kind of the machine learning aspect of it, where we try to understand the process. That's the second slide.
That was not what I was saying, but that's all. What I want to say to the audience, or what I would like is like a little bit more specificity. Okay, how? But unfortunately, I think your time is gone. But for the next people, how? If you say you're going to collect data, how and what? Are you going to take pictures of these diseases? I get all the seconds anyway.
So we can get that data from different ethnic groups or different languages. So that if they can be.
What's the mode of collection?
Yeah, maybe we can buy out for data collection from different.
Okay. Okay. I can move the truck in the middle.
So that we can address localization.
All right, I think we're going to jump over that side. Yes.
We discussed that having a data set utilizing a mobile devices like on-device machine learning, it will be a great, especially when we have an example of a certain country with a lot of ethnic groups with all different language. So having a data set that captures those language really important.
Okay, so I'm gonna say if anyone else has a language data set collection, can I see hands? Other people? Language collection, language. Okay, so I'm gonna skip you guys, but I hope you guys talk to each other then.
So I have a group over here. We kind of talked about a couple of different parts. So one of the interesting ones was mental health.
Okay.
So the idea is that, culture plus being based in Africa, so people just don't talk about mental health, depression, suicide. But the fact is that people die and stuff all the time. And so can we use machine learning approaches to do it? So I'm suggesting that we can start like a social network data across different languages and try to build models and help address and solve that language. I thought that was interesting.
Alright. Have I heard from you guys here? Okay.
Governments how to use the language models for them to education. So we were thinking about the traditional curriculum isn't really suited for personalization for the students. So we all have all these services that personalize to like your search, your taste. But in education, you don't do one size fits all. So what about, so practically, obviously, you'll be living in the traditional education space, but like with e-learning, it's become more possible. If teachers capture marks of students in different sections and categories, and from that, create customized content, let's say the students struggling with trigonometry versus calculus, they'll get more training on trigonometry, so like double supervisor.
All right. All right. Yes.
What we discussed here is that just instead of trying to everything, we broke it into like health, education, and other sectors, and in particular the inclusion. For example, if you have people with disabilities, we know that AI could really help in that sector. And also in mining sectors, you have like sensors and how you integrate sensor efficiencies can be increased. And as well as in health sector, for example, you have accessibilities to most people in rural areas, such that you can have like expertise kind of knowledge, even if there are no connections, you can have like modules that you can help them to do this.
30 seconds. Okay, I'm going to like complain a little bit also, because right now, you didn't tell me how.
So from our side, we know that most people have smartphones, so that a smartphone is an excellent device for gathering data. So we were thinking about things like mobile health. If you have some skin rash, you take a picture of the rash, you have some automatic diagnosis. If you have maybe you're somewhere in a rural area, you have an animal that's sick, you take a video of the animal and you have some automated diagnosis of that. Or you've got a crop which has some disease, you take a picture of the leaf and you have some automated diagnosis. So I think smartphones are a good way for gathering data. So that's what our group discussed.
That sounds good. Is the panel, are you guys still doing diagnostic?
Well, we discussed something similar, not exactly, but not in the bio.
How are you guys planning to collect the data? Or I don't need data?
Could be using mobile.
She gives 30 seconds. So
I'm going to extend it. I want to hear how the data collection.
We were agnostic to how the data is collected, so we want to automate pathology analysis.
Okay. I know I promised everybody, but I'm going to take just the last 3 minutes. So yeah, I know. I'm saying.
So one point that we identified in this week is that Africa we have a lot of issues around using creativity. So it's trying to start issues around for example, the estimation of a national goal that we can have one user group to 80% outside the country like that. Also, I talked about how to, I think from the issue of education, that people trying to make that platforms for WhatsApp, in the sense that networks are able to give you WhatsApp data, which is easily accessible for students and stuff. And if we basically create a platform for the companies for asking this stuff.
I have to cut your head too. But yeah, I really like the idea of trying to discover what we can do around connectivity, and I think it's definitely low-hanging fruit.
So our idea, we identified that data collection was really a big problem, and we'd like to incentivize everyone to add to that data. So we have the opportunity to change. We have the opportunity, because we're new to this, to have a policy that data should be free, and have a company or an organization collect data, different types of data, plant data, agricultural, medical, and the idea would be, because everyone wants the data, people will pay for this company or organization to collect data, and the idea is to incentivize everyone to send their data, and a way would be cryptocurrency that you can translate back to their monetary value.
Okay, that sounds good, but also go to the ethics conversation tomorrow. Okay, I think that's going to be the end of. I really like these discussions, and I think we should think about digging more into some of these ideas. I think some of the ones are very ready. I personally, I like the connectivity, I like the diagnostics, I like the language collections, I like, because those feel like they can be done now. With that, I actually want to open it up to you guys to, if you have questions to the panel, right before we close our discussion. I actually don't know how much time we have, but then how much time do we have? 20 minutes, okay, that's a good time, yes. So I would like us, because I personally was very interested in hearing from you guys, so my part is done. Yeah, if you have questions for the panelists.
From personal experience, a problem that one typically encounters when working at a large corporation like Google, Facebook, etc., is that it's really hard to collaborate with other big companies or big industry labs because of IP issues. Do you think, first of all, have you run into these problems? Do you think these problems are important if we want to solve social issues that will likely need collaboration from many big labs and probably from a variety set of disciplines?
Do you have a specific person you'd like to ask this question?
Mustafa, for example.
He used to be my colleague.
Yes. So I know people probably run into the same problem.
No,
we didn't hear the question, so if you could repeat.
Yes. So he's asking, when you're working in a large corporation, one of the important problems is that it is difficult to collaborate with other people in another large corporation. I agree, because of obvious, usually IP issues, etc., there are some potential barriers for collaborating between large corporations. However, I see more and more this type of collaboration happening. So it started with collaborations between universities and large industrial labs, and more large corporations are coming together to collaborate on important problems. In fact, there are certain issues that go beyond a specific company. Issues like bias or fairness, and all these issues. Issues like lack of representativity of certain communities, and all of these type of issues, they are broad and should be tackled at the level of the whole sector. And there is better communication is needed, and more collaboration. I don't know what is the best way of doing this, because there are legal issues and etc. But this is a very good question, and I definitely agree with you.
I would say it's easier for large corporations to collaborate with me because or the power of the instrument and they could fit.
Okay, I have to 1, 2, 3, 4. Shakir, yes.
Okay, so can I just say, she said something interesting. In fact, the reason why it's easier for a company to collaborate with the university or with you is because most of the time when it happens, there is a clear framework around the idea. Most of the time, everything is open source. Right? Everything goes to the public domain and it belongs to everybody. So it makes it much easier because they're not operating on the same market. So there's less competition and it makes collaboration much easier. It's not because there is a sorry?
Okay, my question has to do with data collection. She said maybe for those people having issues with X data or some data can contact you. But there are some unique characteristics on some data collections in different countries. For example, when it comes to soil suitability, for example, you want to do prediction of soil suitability, you cannot base your judgment based on maybe plant some, like plantain in Nigeria, and I tried to plant it. I brought the root from Nigeria to Swaziland. It's taking forever. It's not, it's not coming up and so on. So, how do you address or help researchers that are having issues with data? For the past 1 year, we're trying to do a research on co-infection of HIV/AIDS, applying machine learning techniques, but we got the data, but it's summarized data. We want the relevant data set and so on. And they are now asking us to meet the national TB coordinator. They are pushing us from one end to another and so on. So I don't know the way forward from H3.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I think, first I have to be very careful because a lot of the data is human data. African populations have traditionally been the most exploited populations. We have watched this phenomenon from the science, where people come in, grab the data, and move out, and they publish it in the US, and they get published in the US. If people are not on the ground, still doing zero correctness. And the biggest thing, when you look at the Ebola virus, I think 80% to 90% of the samples collected are not necessarily on or in DRC. They're all outside the country. In terms of actual access to data, so this has come at a policy level. So a lot of the funding right now behind biomedical science, all the funders have mandated that the data should be open. Open data doesn't basically mean that it's free and readily available, but there should be data access measures in place. So if you're looking for HIV data with humans with co-infection, you can easily look up some places and you can help people apply for access to that data. But because it's human samples, it's under what's called controlled access. If it's ministry collected data set, then I think that has to be done at the Ministry of Health level as well. But they should encourage the data to do that. And also, I think we should remember, I did say scientists with all that collaborating, but they form a bond with, form a relationship with the community that makes the data from. So the last thing they want to do is have the data exposed as well. So by mistake, if you give the data for something which is not intended to, in a sense they betray that community as well. So it's not that scientists are not open to collaboration, they're also very protective about the people who actually work with them as well. But I'm more than happy to have a look at the research with you and get that access to it.
Last night over dinner we had an interesting discussion around the language we use in data science. Effectively it's language of data is the new gold, data mining, feature extraction, and in the African context that doesn't always have good connotations. And so mining, the physical mining process has a legacy of not compensating those that experience extraction fairly for the value that's extracted. So the reason why mining is profitable is because somebody on the other end of the chain is paying for the real cost of mining in terms of environmental damage. So there's a degree of nervousness I get when we speak around data mining and data extraction in the African context, because we're not always clear on whether those that experience extraction are really going to be compensated for the effects of it downstream. So my question to Google and IBM would be, in which African countries do you pay tax, and how do you make sure that you compensate Africans for the value that you extract from Africa? And I would love to hear Lynette's perspective on this.
I'll brief them like that because I think people. What's up, Joy?
So, that's a great question. And one project that we're doing that I think bears on this question is we are working in Kenya with creating a blockchain-based digital health wallet where a patient actually controls their medical records. Actually, this isn't such a big problem in Kenya, or a perceived problem in Kenya. The Kenyans tend to be quite open with their data. But that opens them up to this kind of exploitation, data exploitation that you're talking about. And I think by owning your own data, you can also sell your data for medical purposes, appropriately anonymized. And I think that in the West, we are very aware that our data should be private. That we don't want to, if you say at HIV, I don't want to share this status with everybody. And so we're aware of this. But also, there's a lot of people doing mining, using a terrible word that I didn't realize was terrible for you just spoke. But I want to be compensated for this in a small way for the utilization of my data for whatever good you might put it to. So I think the same thing is happening with financial data. My personal financial records, they should be mine. And if you want to use this for credit scoring of other people, that's great, but pay me a little micro payment. And other.
Did you say you wanted to hear my perspective? Oh, great. So Nyela mentioned that I have been doing the Mozilla Fellowship, and one of the things that I was, actually the main thing I focused on was data protection and privacy. And it's been something that I've been very passionate about. I managed the Kenya Open Data Initiative, so I was the person who took it from concept to the project. And for very many years, I was pushing for data to be openly available, to anyone and everyone that wanted access to that. And after the project, I decided to focus now on can we close what needs to be closed, because we did not want to approach it from that direction. Someone very wise said data is the currency used to access free products, and we have seen that a lot of people, for the right amount, are able to give you their data, very personal data, and do not know what should be private really. One of the things that we're doing actually, my company has developed a product called Pulse, and the idea is we have collected a lot of personal information about a lot of people. And what we're doing is we're selling these to companies, but then for instance, to a company, we will tell you for you to speak to Mustafa, you need to pay us $5. A percentage of the $5 actually goes to Mustafa. So if 10 people want to speak to Mustafa get paid 10 times because he's.
This is an interesting
yeah, because and that's exactly how we actually do it. That, for instance, even when data science, so it's an online service tool. For instance, even when as data science we poll these people, it's just cheaper for us, but we actually have to pay them. So we never poll them for free. And for me, it's to encourage people to really know the value of your data. The truth is, your data is going to be out there. You might as well just make some money out of it.
What's the sense?
So it depends. It depends. Okay, great. I'm gonna tell you. It depends with the minimum is 10%, and if you're asking more questions, there is added value to the respondent. So for every single question, we pay the respondent more. So for every single question, it's going to be more expensive. The first 10 questions, it's a standard 10%, and for every additional question, there's a percentage that goes to the respondent. Where is that?
Alright, okay. We can do this afterwards. Yeah.
This was a great pitch, like Chief has found so many clients just by answering that question. Wow. Yeah, I think this is a very important question, and most of the time we look at large corporations as one single body that does good or bad. I believe behind large corporations there are human beings, and those human beings take decisions. And most of the time those human beings, they identify to certain values. And these values end up being the values of the corporation they represent. And I've seen this across different industries, the AI principles that Google put out, which is a set of rules and principles that govern the way we work and apply AI, including what we do with the data and what we will never do with it. We are very mindful and respectful of people's data, and when we use it to train machine learning model, it's always while keeping in mind issues related to privacy and more issues related to fairness and biases, etc. So while I can understand the parallel with the mind,
it is related to the previous two questions actually, because it seems this is where we're going. But yes, so it'd be very interesting for Megan to kind of maybe take us through. With Zindi, just went through the competitions that you have and the rules. And the rules say that for the top 3 winning solutions, the rights transfer basically to Zindi. So the code and everything goes to Zindi. So
it actually goes to the host of the competition. I'll double check the rules.
It goes to the host, how that again is coming to, so like, people go and ingest there's the monetary value that's assigned to the prize, but that is there an understanding of how this process is it repeatable at the end of the day when they do submit, and like